I'm realizing that this eating disorder is a lot stronger than I thought it was. I can't stop the exercise. It's really up and down. You know, there are some fleeting moments where I think I can do this, and then there are others where it's just like, not today. And I just want to go home.
So that'll stay. Okay. Hello and welcome back to my channel, or hello for the first time. I'm trying to record on my phone because I think the quality is a little bit better than photo booth, so we'll see. So the video you just saw, I'd taken about 4 days after I'd started my treatment for my eating disorder in a residential program. So that is what I'll be talking about today. We're off to a really great start. Anyway, okay, here goes. So today I thought it would be kind of interesting for me to talk about my experience in residential treatment for my eating disorder. It's something that I didn't really know much about before I went into it, and kind of looked around to see if there were any videos like this one that would kind of give me some insight about what to expect. Now, before I get into it, I want to preface that everyone's experience is different. It can differ depending on who's in a place at the time, where the dietitians you get or the therapists that are there. Like, it's really all over. I've heard stories from other places where the rules are completely different, so this is just my experience, my own personal thoughts, and I'm not going to call it a what to expect because it's going to be different for everyone. But yeah, so this is just going to be my experience in residential treatment for my eating disorder. So to go back a little bit, leading up to the time I was admitted, which would have been May 2019, May 2019, I was really sick. My whole life was food and exercise and calories, and I wouldn't let myself do anything in my free time because I thought it was a waste if I wasn't exercising. February of 2019, I went to Florida to visit my grandparents, and I remember the whole trip was just about food and calories and getting up early in the morning to run before it got really hot. And I remember even I was wearing an Apple Watch at the time and standing in the bathroom of the plane doing steps just to try to get my steps in. And there was one day on that trip actually that I really wanted ice cream. It was my favorite ice cream place in the world. It's called Kilwins. That's in St. Armand Circle. And my favorite flavor is banana chocolate chip cream pie, which sounds really gross, but it's good, I promise. And I didn't eat anything that day because I wanted to get like a lot of this ice cream. And that day, there's a photo of me somewhere, and I look like a horrible bodybuilder. My acne was really bad at that time, but I'm smiling because I'm eating this ice cream that's delicious, but I was not happy. My whole day was just ruined because of this ice cream. Anyway, so in March that year, I was also working as a hostess at a restaurant, walking all the time for the job, and I had this rule, you know, where I could only eat a certain amount of calories a day, and I would sometimes save my food to eat when I got home after a shift. But if I came home past midnight, you know, that's the next day, and so I wouldn't let myself eat my coming home dinner, whatever, because it would have been the next day, and then the next day I'd have to decrease the calories. And anyway, there are all these rules. Yeah, so I was admitted. It happened very quickly, but I think within a week I'd called them and I was there. I'd been looking into a bunch of different places. My parents were really worried and obviously looking. Yeah, I'm not going to name the place, but it was out of the province, so I had to fly there, and I cried the whole flight. I cried the whole car ride. Yeah, my parents came with me, mostly because if they didn't, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't have gotten on that plane. So, yeah, the first day was horrible. I remember sitting around the table it was all girls, just with these girls and just feeling so horribly judged. Like, it was dinner that night was soup and dinner rolls. And I ate my dinner and they were like amazed that this new girl had actually eaten her dinner. And the way I kind of want to describe residential treatment, this is different than inpatient. It wasn't in a hospital, it wasn't doctors, it was, dietitians and therapists, but it wasn't doctors and things like that. So it was all girls, and it was in this beautiful old house. So the best way I can kind of describe it is, if you've seen To the Bone, it's similar to that, but everyone hated each other and it was all girls. But it was similar in the way that you kind of got privileges and you were able to leave the house and you were in charge of your own meals and things. So it was very flexible, but that was also a big negative because it did give a lot of room for urges to come in. So I still ran in the mornings and I was still doing exercise, obviously not as much, but that never really went away. And so I learned a lot, but I hated every second of it. I was not happy there. I mean, you're not supposed to be happy in rehab. Just eating so much food and feeling so uncomfortable, which is what I'm doing now, but it feels different this time because it's sort of on my own terms. So I think the whole time I was there, my goal was just to gain the weight and get out. Like, I wasn't focused on recovery. I wasn't ready. So I would continue to do body checking videos where I would film myself and just to see what I looked like. I remember putting on the same pair of jeans every night and just feeling them getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's self-destructive. If you're in a state of recovery, just wear baggy clothes. You're going to be gaining weight. Not for everyone. If you're underweight and you need to be weight restored, then yes, obviously. But not everybody in an eating disorder treatment plan is needing to gain weight. Everyone's different. But I needed to gain weight. And so that was just my experience. So we had 3 group sessions a day, and then you usually had one kind of therapy session and the dietitian. So you had your own individualized meal plan. And so you'd get up in the morning. The first group was at 9, I think. And then you had breakfast in group. And then your kind of snack would be at 11, and then lunch at 12:30. And most people, we would all eat together. You didn't have to, but it was like, you kind of had to. So everyone was in charge of their own breakfast and lunches based on their meal plan. And then dinner, every night one of the girls would cook, so you would have responsibility to cook for everyone, which was horrible because, like, everyone has their own eating disorder rules, and I'm gonna be honest, the girls that were in the house at the time were just not helpful to me. I remember my very first night, one of the girls came to my door and just sort of stood there and said, is this your first time inpatient, or is this your first time in a residential program? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, this is my 4th. And it was kind of like, well, fucking great. So I shouldn't swear on this, but I swear all the time. But yeah, and she was telling me how this is like the 4th time she's tried, and it was just like, I was feeling hopeless. Like, my goal was to go in 8 weeks, come out, be fine. But recovery's linear. So I definitely learned a lot about myself. I don't think it was the program for me. I did slowly gain confidence to eat more, and remember trying Subway for the first time, Subway sandwich, and just like loving it. And just allowing myself, giving myself the permission to eat was really great. And then, but the whole time I think it was almost like a competition just to see who could get in and out the fastest. The way that you were admitted, everyone sort of was at different places when they started or when they were admitted. So, some girls had been there for a week and some girls had been there for, 3 or 4 weeks. One girl was there for I think almost 11 weeks. Yeah, and there's all of this tension before the new girl comes in. You know, what's she gonna look like? What's she gonna eat? What are her eating habits? Because eating disorders are very competitive. One of the worst things you can do is comment on someone's food. Like, just don't do it. Like, if you were to say, oh, you're eating a lot, or oh, that looks good, or oh, I don't know, it's weird. But you can tell, like, when you sit down at the dinner table, it was like the worst time of the day. It was in this dark room, and you know, you'd sit down with your food and you'd be kind of looking at what other people were looking or eating, but trying not to notice them noticing you looking, because then they were looking. It was like, God. Yeah, there are just so many little stories that I could tell, but I don't know how interested people are. But it's kind of interesting to think back about that time. I'm not going to say I wasn't fully focused on recovery. Like, I was still doing my exercises and doing as much as I could to not gain the weight. Because yeah, then I came home and I was fairly happy. I remember dancing to Pink, and I think I filmed it, dancing to Pink and getting rid of clothes that didn't fit. And I was feeling good, but yeah, I was still in an eating disorder mindset and not ready. So I relapsed. But I'm doing it again now, like doing the recovery thing and hoping it's gonna work. I don't know, while I was there, I started this notebook of just like different recovery goals, and made little cheesy flowers and drawings and scrapbook, whatever. Yeah, just to like keep me motivated. That was good. I have a part of a passage that I thought might be interesting to read. I was just going through this and I don't know. So it says, it's hard and it's going to continue to be hard. You're going to feel uncomfortable in your body. You're going to want to rip out of your skin, run, scream, but you won't. That would be giving into this disorder. You've come so far already. Don't go back now. Don't give in. Giving into the disorder to relieve short-term anxiety means giving up long-term freedom. It will relieve the anxiety in the moment, but then cause more when you realize that you need to do it again the next day. Giving into this disorder means giving up freedom. It means giving up an amazing life. It means giving up Christmas dinners with the family, key lime pie in Florida, summer barbecues, and movie nights. You want to be able to relax and not have the anxiety of the eating disorder voice yelling at you to work out. The most beautiful woman on the beach is not the one with the skinniest body. The one with the woman on the beach who's the most beautiful is the one with the biggest smile. No one cares what you look like. People care about your happiness, not your abs. Your body is the house you grew up in. Don't burn it to the ground. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, going through this is definitely inspiring, and for me, cheesy, whatever. But yeah, I just hope that with these videos, they are kind of mostly for me just to talk. COVID has made talking with people not readily available, so I guess they're sort of like diary entries, but people can ask me questions and listen. So yeah, that's just like a little bit about my experience in residential treatment. If you'd like to hear more or hear more journal entries, I can also go through and pull out my other journal from when I was actually in there, if people want to hear that. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have more questions, let me know. I'm filming on my phone. I was previously filming on my what's it fucking called? Photo booth. And it was just not good quality, but I think I've been looking at like different places, so now I'm just getting off track. But yeah, if you're struggling, I'm here to listen. If you're just here to listen to me, I hope you enjoyed it. If not, I'm sorry, but there we go. Have a good day. Bye.